Let me just say for the record that in reviewing the articles of impeachment that have been drafted and proposed by the Judiciary Committee, they are neither high crimes nor misdemeanors. First of all, abuse of power, the way they've defined it here, doesn't even constitute a crime. I mean, the abuse of power is exactly what here. We'll get more into that in detail. And then there's the obstruction of Congress. Obstruction of Congress. The president was exercising constitutional privileges that were being tested in court. The president has the right to do that. You cannot be penalized for exercising your constitutional privileges. There's a long line of Supreme Court cases that say that. So where is the beef here? Well, this is a political beef, which we knew exactly what this was going to be when it started. And that's precisely what it is. So now the question is, in the body politic, how does this move? It'll move over to the Senate. Assuming it gets passed in the House next week, I assume it does, and they'll move over to the Senate.
When I look at these articles of impeachment, I am embarrassed for the Democrat Party and for Congress as a whole, as an institution. Because if the majority party believes that these two articles, very weak articles, I mean, these are not impeachable offenses. They're not even offenses.
Abuse of power, and that's a loaded term. And here the abuse of power is the president engaging in foreign policy discussions. Then evidently that's now an abuse of power. But here's the first question you have to ask yourself. Is abuse of power a crime?
Absolutely not. So there are no definitions of an abuse of power within the meaning A, of the Constitution, and B, with respect to statutory law. So we don't have any evidence of bribery, no quid pro quo, no extortion. Indeed, the Democrats have declined to charge the president with the specifics of a crime. He is essentially being charged with exercising his authority within the meaning of Article 2 of the Constitution. This is a continuation of the Democratic approach to weaponize the exercise of the Constitution. That, in and of itself, is an abuse of power by Congress.
And you look at this whole process, when it started with Adam Schiff in the Intelligence Committee and then went over to Judiciary Committee, this is not an exercise in law. It's not an exercise in the principles of the Constitution. This is an exercise in political targeting. They object to the president personally. They object to his foreign policy, so they come up with this bogus process and now these very, very vague articles of impeachment.
People really need to understand this. This might be the Speaker Pelosi show, the Chairman Schiff show, but every single member of the House has an obligation to vote on these articles. Well, and again, we've talked about it many times. 31 of these Democrats are from districts that elected Donald Trump. They are going to have to make a decision whether or not they agree that President Trump is a national security threat.
So there are reports that there was a last-minute move by some of these, at least a couple of dozen, it sounds like, members of the House to try to kill this, to go with some kind of censure resolution about the actual phone call. That was at least one of the thoughts. Now, here's the question, Dan. It goes to the House Judiciary Committee Thursday. They'll vote it out. No question on party. It'll be party line vote. What about the what happens in the House of Representatives? What do you think? We know there's two. Could there be more? Democrats say no?
I think there will be, Jay. I mean, yeah, we already know that Colin Peterson and Jeff Van Drew are likely to vote no. I think it's likely to be more. Just to give a little bit of color to your talk about there was a move to censure, Jay, I think that's why Article 2 says obstruction of Congress, which whatever that means, as opposed to obstruction of justice.
Yes.
That was sort of what they got in that process, and we can go down the whole line of why that doesn't mean a whole lot. But, Jay, look, as members of those 31 members that we talk about, as they start to peel away, remember, even if they vote against these articles, Jay, if they then elect Speaker Pelosi as the next speaker, it really is irrelevant.